Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to your own channel Midu Study. I am your friend Ashutosh from IIM Indore, and friends, as we all know, Midu Study is your own channel initiative in which we discuss various management topics in a very simple manner, very easy manner with lots of example and lots of learning. Friends, we have 5 different modules which are on organizational behavior, HRM, which is human resources management, marketing strategy, as well as operations. And we have already completed marketing strategy and HRM 3 subjects, so you can see the complete videos on all these topics. Now we are developing more and more content on operations and OB, and also evaluating if we can add some more modules. Today's videos, my dear friends, is on our OB, which is organizational behavior module, and it is video number 15 on learning 4. Learning 4 means fourth video on learning. So if you have not seen previous videos, you can see those 3 previous videos in which we have explained what is learning all about, various theories of learning, which was the classical theory, conditioning theory, reinforcement theory, and social learning theory. And we were discussing these through various experiments which were done by various people. And in reinforcement, we discuss why it is important. Today's video will further build upon that particular topic. How learning through reinforcement happen. It is one of the oldest approaches used by the organization for changing the behavior of individuals at workplace. So it is a very old approach, very systematic approach, in which we can also call it as behavior modification. Basically, the behavior of the person, the individual, is getting modified. According to behavior modification, learning is dependent upon the environment. So what does behavior modification say? That whatever learning is there, that is dependent upon the environment. Now, once this learning happens through reinforcement, that can imbibe in the person, and that is what organizations are looking for. What are the various stages of this behavior modification? So it happens in 3 stages. Easy to learn it through ABC: antecedents, behavior, and consequences. Antecedents, behavior, and consequences. Let us discuss what is antecedent, what is behavior, and what is consequence through a very easy example also. Antecedents are the events which, see these words in red, occur before behavior depicted by the individual. So we can also call it in some aspect to the, we can call it stimuli also. So some stimuli is given, and according to that you are giving some behavior. That is basically antecedent. Now let us see. Supervisor asks the employee to complete a particular task by end of the day. In this case, employee knows that his or action will lead to consequence. Supervisor says to the employee, you have to complete this task EOD. Now, what will the employee know? Employee will know whatever his action he is doing or not, it will lead to certain consequence. So this particular thing, what is happening, comes in the category of antecedent because it is occurring before. Now comes the next stage, which is behavior. Response of individual to the antecedent, response to stimuli. In the example, employee will either start performing the task immediately, right? He will say, okay boss, I will do it immediately. Or he may have discussion with the supervisor that task cannot be completed by EOD. 2 scenarios. He starts working on the task immediately and he completes the task, right? He starts working, that is behavior. Completion and all is the third stage. And second can be, he can have a discussion, sir, it is a very big task, EOD is not possible, give me some more time. So all these things, 2 various discussions which are happening, this is something which is known as behavior. Third, my dear friends, is consequence. In behavior modification, consequence is the result of the response or action taken by the individual. Whatever response or action is being taken, result of that, let us discuss it from that example only. Employee start working on the task and completes. Supervisor will be very happy. He will say, very good job done, Ram, very good. This is one consequence. Second, he did not do. Superior will be unhappy. Yeah, what is this? Always you give excuses, always your work is delayed, this was urgent so I have asked you but still you did not do. So he will be unhappy and he can scold. This, my dear friends, is third part, which is known as consequence. Now coming to organizational reward system. Today the reward, compensation and recognition are considered useful motivational and retention strategies followed by the organization. So in today's time, what are the organizations doing? They are considering that we need to have reward, compensation and recognition so that they can motivate. A reward will motivate the employee to improve the performance and contribution to the organizational effectiveness. For example, your company has your bonus system. Whenever you do something, bonus is given. What will that bonus do? That will basically motivate you to work more. So reward is basically motivating the employee to increase the performance and contribution to the organization. How to administer reinforcement? To administer reinforcement effectively, certain schedules of reinforcement are developed. Schedules at what particular times or in what particular manner we are doing. Because when and how reinforcement is administered is important. When and how, these two things, when and how. Now basis this, there can be two major types of reinforcement. One can be continuous, one can be intermittent. Let us discuss these two. First of all, when we say continuous reinforcement, in this schedule, reinforcement is continuous. That is, every time behavior is demonstrated, it is encouraged or reinforced. Every time you encourage. That is why continuous. Why you do that? So that the frequency of demonstration increases. Let us take this example. Whenever someone is giving good presentation, a chocolate is given or some soft benefit is given. So what is happening? Continuous way you are reinforcing it. So a person knows, let me do it well, I will get this particular reward. This is known as continuous reinforcement schedule. Second type to it is intermittent reinforcement. In this schedule, acceptable or desirable behavior is reinforced but not each and every time. So here also you are reinforcing but not each and every time, because the amount of reinforcement given once is often enough to make the behavior worth repeating. Bonus on overachieving the targets. Why we are doing this intermittent one? Because you are giving such a benefit or such a thing that person will be motivated for longer time. You cannot do that every time. Bonus or increment you cannot give every time now, but you observe the person. In most companies the cycle is annual. In some cases it can be 6 months or 3 months also, but you are not giving it each and every time. But whenever you are giving it, person will say, okay, I did this well, now company gave me good increment, now I will do better, I will work better. He is basically motivated. This is known as intermittent reinforcement schedule. Now there are various types of intermittent reinforcement schedules in two categories, ratio and interval. When we say ratio means certain percentage. For example, 10 out of 100, 10% is basically ratio, 1 by 10 is the ratio. 20 out of 100, ratio, 2 by 10, 1 by 5, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 2 by 5, all these are basically ratios. Second is interval schedule. Interval means after some fixed interval, fixed or variable, but after some time period. Here it is related to that percentage relation, here it is related to that time period relation. So 6 months, 3 months, quarterly, fortnightly, in 15 days, monthly, every month. Now this further can be divided into two parts. Ratio can be fixed variable, interval can be fixed variable. So basically our intermittent reinforcement comes into four categories: fixed ratio, fixed interval, variable interval. Now first is, my dear friends, fixed ratio. Means whenever you are doing something, ratio remains fixed. Your company has a policy that on you do some target, after that 100% you do, for example, after that on every 5% company gives 10,000 rupees bonus. So this is fixed ratio. You will do 105, you will get 10,000. You will do 1110, you will get 20,000. You will do 115, another 10,000. So this is basically example of fixed ratio. Second can be variable ratio. Here that ratio changes, because see, taking that same example, overachievement, when you keep on overachieving, it is not that easy. So doing 100% is in itself very difficult, very commendable job. 105, 110, so from 100 to 105 the effort, and 105 to 110 the effort also changes, right? That is why here what is doing in variable ratio, you are giving some different benefit. For example, in the same example, for 105 you are giving 10,000 rupees, so maybe for 110 you will give 12,000, for 115 you will give 15,000 additional. So you are doing variable ratio. That is what is the example of variable ratio. Again, in interval we have two types: fixed interval and variable interval. When we come to fixed interval, that is after some fixed time period. For example, in sales many companies have your monthly incentive, quarterly incentive. So after every that fixed time, after that month, after that 3 months, that incentive will be given. That is known as fixed interval schedule, happening after some fixed period of time. Second can be, my dear friends, variable interval. When we say variable interval, means you are changing that interval and it is not fixed. It can be, for example, company sometimes gives it after at 6 months, sometime after 3 months. So it is not fixed. You are not fixing it in the policy. Many times it can also be linked to when company is doing well. At that time you want to give incentive, and that is why it is known as variable interval. So these are the four types: fixed ratio, variable ratio, fixed interval and variable interval in our intermittent reinforcement. With this, my dear friends, we come to end of learning. Very important topic, that is why we did in 4 different videos. And again we were talking about a word called motivation. Learn and get motivated. So in next video we will start the topic of motivation. If you have any confusion in learning, you can write in the comment section or our mail id, which is midu.study@gmail.com. If you are liking the content, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you, take care.